very nice, successful H pattern here. Down, up, oh, another one. Down, oh, another one. So they can happen anywhere in the chart.
Hello everyone and welcome back to...
There are 5 stages to a bearish H pattern. 5 stages. A new swing high. A new swing high. So we're running a... Now again, this is all taken from the
Hello, hello, hello. What is going on out there, crypto world? This is your host, Z-Rex, coming at you live. On October 22nd, 2018. This is No Noise, where we like to chat about markets, crypto specifically, at least at the beginning, and then the latter half we like to discuss equities and commodities, gold, oil, all those good fun things. If you're tuning in, it's glad to have you. Thank you for joining us. I'm a little bit behind, as you probably noticed. When it rains, it pours. That's a good saying for the last week for me, but that's okay. Things are getting done, moving forward. It's the start of the new week, so let's get it in. Let's go ahead and just jump into markets. I'm going to try to do this one a little bit faster than I usually do. I'm playing around with some different ideas. Let me go ahead and put on my live screen before I forget that. A big shocker since I've been away. Nothing's happened. Breaking news. We're still sideways. I'm pretty sure that's like the 1100th time I've said that. Bitcoin dominance still here at about 53-54%. Nothing too exciting there. You know, the few days I've missed here doing the show, it's like there wouldn't have been really any price action updates at all. Of course, you know, I will rant about other things and experiences that probably have more value, I would think, than us seeing the chop forever. And not only is the chop been forever, it's gotten even freaking tighter now here. You know, we're just chilling in this damn little range the last few days of $100 again. That seems to be like the thing we love to do. Did it here a little bit, did it here. You know, nothing too exciting. Let's go back over here to the main page and see some of the bigger movers. I know Raven Coin is up a lot today. They got added to Binance and they have some release that's happening in a week or so. Probably will just be a traditional buy the news, sell the rumor. Or buy the rumor, sell the news. Sorry, I said that one backwards. Yeah, as you can see, last 7 days, BAT has been on fire. There's been lots of announcements with the Brave out, browser app and stuff like that. So it has been getting lots of love. Zero X obviously has been getting lots of love. ZRX, we discussed that one on the last one. You know, they got added to Coinbase, so of course they were going to get some little CB pumping. Komodo's showing some nice moves in the last 7 days. Let's actually go check out Komodo. I haven't looked at Komodo in a while. Let's go to Bittrex. Oh yeah, looking pretty nice. Nice saucer pattern here. If you don't know what that is, I'll just go ahead and kind of draw that for you. Oh, maybe not. Here we go. Little saucer pattern there. See? Those are usually bullish as long as it kind of stays inside of this little saucer. Hence the name of the pattern, right? So that probably, once we get over this 144 exponential, you know, we probably got a really good shot at tagging the red longer term at 377. So that is something to be looking forward to. I'm going to go ahead and actually throw a little alert on here. So when it crosses up, I will know. I need to go check it out. So that's pretty interesting. Let's see what the internals are saying. Don't have horizontals. Add those on real quick. Alt-H, you can do that on TradingView. Yeah, bullish on the daily, so that looks pretty good. Bullish on the 4-hour, neutral on the 3-day. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess it is slightly bullish on the 4-hour. You have dominance showing here. It is back in the neutral zone, but you have the bears here in the weak zone. So that's slight bullishness. It is very neutral on the hourly, though. Yeah, nice little break here. This 21,000 area will probably give us a nice run to shit, probably right where about where my alert is. So that'll be funny. I'm not gonna play that, but that's interesting. Decent looking chart here. Let's just look at basic attention token real fast, since you know we were just discussing that. Had a beautiful run here, riding right up the the blue dots down on this bottom side. Actually, let me go ahead and make this big screen. There we go. Yeah, riding right there. Looking pretty good. Got over the 21 and skyrocketed after getting into the bullish zone and the power zone on this good engulfing candle. So that was a pretty good acceptance on the next one, and has not really looked back since then. I'm not going to be playing this to the long side, as you're getting some divergence on the 4 hour here. And plus, you know, up 50% right now in this market, that's a lot. That's a really big move for altcoins, you know. But to be fair, there isn't really hard resistance until you get up into the mid 5,000s, it looks like. Let's check out on the daily. It's cleared already. 3-day probably won't have it. Nope. That'll be coming up here soon. Yeah, so about 5,300 is where really tough resistance is. So that's still about 20% from here. Again, risk to reward ratio on that one isn't too sexy for me. All right, let's go to Mama Bear. All right, again, like I said, just going with this sideways bonanza here. Very boring. It's been boring. We are hovering now. Looking a little bit more bearish since the last video. Just ever so slightly, and I only say that because we're below the 55 daily exponential here, which is this orange line. And it's kind of riding down the trend line here, which isn't the best look. But again, it's not below the 618, and this I'm going to take half of this because this wick is so gigantic. So I'm going to take about half of that. Oh, it is a little bit below it after this candle. Okay. Still above the 786 though. So yeah, it is kind of in definitely a very cautious zone. If you look on the 4 hour, oh yeah, that's interesting. Let's zoom in on this. You have the bears and the bulls above in the power zone. Again, y'all know that doesn't happen very often. It happened back here a little bit. That means the move is very pent up in both sides. One of the sides is going to be springing out of here very soon. It does not like to stay. Both bulls and bears do not like to stay in this upper range for very long. And if you watch these videos, you've probably heard me discuss that numerous times. And since I am making these videos, I'm actually noticing that a little bit more than I have before in the past, which is a good thing. You know, hopefully y'all learned some stuff here because it's helping me learn and organize my thoughts and trading as well. So win-win, right? As you can see, man, these moving exponentials, they are super compact. So is the DMI, so is the RSI. I mean, this has just been the damn story of the last, you know, seems like pretty much last couple months. You know, if you just remove this crazy tether, whatever the hell happened this day. And again, if we look at, or not again, but if we do look at Bitstamp, you know, that move is less pronounced. They are below lots of the averages and definitely inside of this longer term resistance trend line that has been tagged, that everybody has had to have seen it. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this line, I think. What is that for? This purple one. Oh, that's a really long term one. No, I'm not gonna erase that because it's on Bitstamp. Threw me off a little bit there. But yeah, so Bitstamp, Coinbase, all the other ones, they look like this chart, which is a little bit more natural and makes more sense than the Bitfinex chart right now. Again, getting rejected once more from this trend line. Only had one opportunity, and it was a failed breakout. So we'll see if this consolidation was enough to see if we can come back up and test that. And if y'all recall, this also lined up with our box that we've had drawn on here for a long time to the T, which is also this 618, 618. And 618, which is where these pink lines are. And so ultimately, you know, that's massive resistance like we've been talking about it. Nothing's changed. 7K, 69 to 7K, depending on your risk tolerance. And as long as we kind of stay above this trend line on the bottom, and ultimately below, like this candle above, what is that, about 62.50, you know, I can't get too bearish yet. I would like to see this have one more test. Usually it will, given the structure on the daily DMI. I'm not saying that it's bullish for long term, but a lot of times, you know, when it gets kind of draggy and loopy like this, it'll have one more little pop. But again, given that this was kind of an anomaly from the tether stuff, or whatever the hell it was, and the other exchanges are matching up and staying inside of this triangle, and the premium on Finex is there as well, you know, it makes it a little bit tougher to read. So almost looking at the other, like Coinbase or Bitstamp, might be a better signal at this point. Speaking of signals, let's go over to ETH. Ethereum has been playing around pretty nicely and giving us some forewarnings. Volatility has been sucked out of the market pretty well, and you can see that up here on this top indicator. That is a volatility measure, and it's on the lower end of its range. Still consistently staying below the 21 exponential though on a daily time frame. That is not a great sign. The best thing about this right now is no other volume, and clearly the dominant volume on this action for the last 3 weeks is this big buy volume on this spike here, which coincides with that tether movement. So that is probably the most bullish thing about these charts. But, you know, that's one thing versus all the other things that's against it. Below the middle, again, like we just talked about in the last video, the 55. And again, all those videos, I timestamp them. I do know I need to catch up on that last one. I will get to that later tonight when I'm doing this one. But you can see, you know, this is just riding right down the middle of this channel. You know, that everything else is pretty bearish looking. Except some of this big buy volume here. I do like that. But on the indicators, internals on the daily, it is neutral. It is bearish still on the 3-day. Bearish on the weekly. Neutral on the 4-hour. Man, yeah, so actually we've gotten a little bit bearish on Ethereum. Just ever so slightly. But given that we are struggling to maintain above the 4-hour, 1 hour, and the daily 21 exponential, that's not the best sign. So obviously anyone can look at this chart and see if we break this level here, this hammer candle that we discussed at length, that this could be setting in the bottom, that is going to be your line in the sand, about 180. If you want to be a little bit more risk adverse, probably could take it down to like 170. But that, you know, that's pretty good drop from here. So me personally, I don't like it if it drops below 200, like 195, 200. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here for Ethereum. Again, it's almost funny. It feels like I'm making the same video from a few days ago, because price has literally done zilch, nada. Now let's go to Litecoin. Very similar chart to Ethereum at this point. Riding down the middle part of its channel, which goes back all the way to December. So definitely an important channel to keep an eye on. And you can see it's struggled at the midpoint of this channel since all the way back in mid-July. Really, I guess you could call it mid-June, because right when it got below it, it has not seen above it. It has not been above it since then. We are consolidating on it more than we have, though, in the past. Maybe a little bit here, and then it rolled down. But here it tried to, and this could be a little bit bullish, this getting bought up like this. But you know, the problem is they're not getting past any 618 measurements, and if you put one of those on here from just that candle alone, I mean, you're talking like 57 bucks, and that's all the bodies are below that. So generally, after I've been looking at charts here the last couple hours, it's a little bit bearish to me overall, which, you know, I know kind of sucks, but it is what it is, right? I always do that. Let's go. Here we go. Let's see here. XRP, the rips. It was, last time we talked, it was very bullish looking relative to everything else. Still kind of same shit, different day. I mean, hovering right around the 21 exponential, and both the bulls and the bears are right close up to the power zone, as all the exponentials are stacked here. Kind of a similar picture to, you know, Bitcoin's compression. Let's see on the hourly. We are a little bit bearish. We haven't gotten bearish on the hourly since October 18th. So that's notable. It did didn't really matter. As you can see, it just went sideways, so there isn't real big strength. And that happens with the hourly. Usually you won't get too much conviction on an hourly. Y'all know if you listen to this a lot, I mostly trade off 4 hour and above time frames. That way it just keeps you from like watching it all the time too, you know. So if you can see and use the 4 hour instead, it's kind of getting bearish here in this area and stayed above it all the way up until this little spike. But you know, plenty of opportunity to manage trades in that window. On the daily, yep, neutral on the 4 hour, slightly bearish on the 1 hour, bullish on the 850 though, so that's interesting. But overall, this is pretty damn neutral. We're still above the 55 daily exponential, and that's what I'm kind of using as a good base. And now, since you do have this action though, it's probably the best to use the bottom of these candles as your ultimate stops. That is a little bit away from here though. That is roughly about 20%. So that's kind of a big chunk. That's more of a loss than I want to take. If I entered in a trade right here, for me, I would use the 55 exponential as a stop. And price moving below that, I would be clearing that out and looking to load, you know, maybe more along the mid 30s range. Kind of depending what price did, of course. So Ripple lost its relative strength look since we last talked back over here. But it is getting super sandwiched, so you can kind of do a wait for the breakout game on this one too. Would probably be the best trade. 44 cents to the downside, 49 cents to the upside, and just jump on after that and make sure it is a closing candle. Again, that's what I would do. This isn't advice. Do whatever the hell you want. Learn how to trade, etc., etc. EOS is where we're going. Good old Danny Larimer. Oh man, struggling at these 21s with no support. Wow, this just broke out of this channel sideways and really has done jack shit. You know, we've kind of jokingly talked about that a little bit, that if we just, you know, I'll just show you Bitcoin real fast what I'm talking about. If we just like went through the symmetrical triangle just sideways, can y'all just imagine if we just were like, just go sideways out of it and just keep doing it? Oh man, that move right there would be pretty much the same as like this dumping. This would make everybody pissed. I'm already having some people ask me about like equities and trading, and like people that really don't do that, but they're getting so bored with crypto that they want to do it now because they foresee opportunity is greater there than in crypto, which is pretty damn funny. That's a sign in itself, in my opinion. Let's hop back over to EOS. Still kind of same thing, struggling at the daily 21 exponentials. That's kind of the MO of the market right now. Although they are making higher lows in the process while they're doing that. So again, just more compression, nothing too exciting. Ultimately on here, you know, a good tight, if you want to even enter any kind of position here. I don't have an EOS position, but if I did, I'd probably stop out at about $5.20 from right here. Seems like okay, because you're getting some support on the triple exponential. There's blue dots, and that also is crossing with the channel. So ultimately you got, again, like we've been talking about forever, it's funny where it crossed that 460 to 480 level has been great buy zone for EOS pretty much for the last 2 months. Easy. Excuse me. All right, let's go to XMR. Let's see here. XMR kind of breaking this line here. Let's go ahead and erase that. It's irrelevant now. Wow, super compressed though in the neutral zone, and also on RSI supporting that, and also on the volatility indicator up here at the top, and volume saying that. Wow, this is just super boring. And that is even on a 3-day. On the daily, still same MO, guys. So here you go. Struggling under these 55 and 21s. It's the same shit, different day in the market. On the 4 hour, neutral still. and on the 1 hour, slightly bullish. So we're finally getting a little bit of love. Ultimately, I don't think we'll get any kind of bullish action unless we can close above this red exponential on the hourly, which is a 377 if you wanted to know. As you can see, that's been kind of resistance since this initial tether freak out moment or whatever the hell it was. All right, Dash. Good old Dash. Oof, not good old Dash. Does not look very healthy. Looks worse than Monero for sure. I guess risk to reward, you could make a case if just looking at price action alone. Oh, I forgot that doesn't take off the indicators. You know, you're really close to this support here. There's about 130. So, I'm not too fond of taking a trade like that. Not with the market in such a critical area. And with so much compression, it's just like, unless you just got balls of steel, you know, you could do it right here and even use this recent local low earlier this month on the 11th of about 150. So that's not too bad of a risk to reward spot. I mean, you're probably looking at, let's see, what is that, like a few percent, 2% ish. So that's pretty good. Let's see here. Let's go to equities real fast. Oh, now it wants to load. That was weird. It was giving me issues earlier. I've been having some computer issues, as y'all know from my last stream. I don't know what the hell's been going on. All right, equities have been very bearish. They're trying to get going. You know, they are having a little bit of a trouble, a little bit of struggle. You know, it was very, very likely that this came and popped and came to the bottom of this trend line. It got close and immediately got sold off. There is a pattern kind of forming right here called an H pattern, and it looks like an H. That's why, obviously, right? It's called that. That's a pretty rare pattern, and they are almost always bearish. And on that H pattern, pretty much getting any closes below that, you're looking at coming to test the longer term exponential here. This is very, very probable. That's kind of what I'm actually looking for right now in equities. I don't quite think the downside is done. We still do have 2 weeks till the election, and early voting just opened today. So there's going to be actual data coming in over the next week and next days to stir up some headlines and blah, blah, blah. Y'all know I don't care about news, but most people do. And so that's going to be able to stir up some price action. And this H patterns are generally super bearish. Let's go look at the internals. Yeah, and you've got bearish on the 4 hour, slightly bearish on the 1 hour, pretty damn bearish on the daily, bearish on the 850 and on the 458. So you're kind of bearish on everything. Yeah, one could make an argument for a low risk long right here. And you only could call it, I think, low risk because just where the price entry would be relative to like where you could stop out. But I think this is a dangerous spot to pick. I have been noticing, I know there's probably not a lot of option sellers that listen to this, but if there is, the volatility premium and just premium in general in options is staying pretty bid. So that means, you know, someone is keeping it up and buying it, you know, expecting some possible more downside. And if you look at the Dow Jones, it has a similar H pattern right here forming, and these are very textbook H patterns as well. And you can also see that on the RUT, although it's not as pretty of a one, but it's definitely there. And of course, on everybody's favorite, the NASDAQ for the fangs, you can also see it right here. So of course, we need, on some of the indices, on Russell, technically it's already breaking down out of the H pattern, right? Closes below this level here, roughly 1530, which looks like it's creeping right down towards that. If we zoom in on a 5 minute, yeah, it looks like it's about to creep down and test that here. So this could be playing out pretty soon. And if so, if that did play out, since we already are on the daily, you know, RUT has been the dog and been warning us for a while. about this. Look, I mean, it's been bearish on the daily all the way back since here, September 26th. And hasn't let up at all. And now we're testing major support. And guys, if this breaks right here, I mean, you're really talking... Let me see, let me do a little fib measurement there. Okay, so I mean, you're talking probably flashing to 1500 to 1480 pretty damn fast. And other than that, if we do a little move measured on this, I mean, we could even be looking at testing back in this mid zone here, around 1400, and that's a pretty big ass drop from here, guys. That would be another 7-8%. So do be careful here. These H patterns generally are they're always bearish. There is an upward version of it. I think they call it a J hook. It's like pretty much just like that, right? But anyway, we're not seeing one of those, so it doesn't matter. So do be careful here. Pretty much what I'm kind of playing here, I'm going to be very bearish on all the indices unless they can break their 618 fibs from these local moves, which is going to be pretty much on Dow at about 25,600. If you want to be a little bit more loose with that, just go to the tops of these H's, right? So you got right here, this candle, 25,800, and then you've got, if we go over to SPX, you've got over here around 2,800, and you can see we're back below some of these longer term trend lines too. So not looking real great. I wouldn't be surprised if we get all the other indices to come over here and tag their longer term moving average, and maybe Russell just doesn't fall as much as the other ones while these play catch up. I could totally see that happening. All right, let's go to oil real quick. Oil's at an extremely critical spot here. This needs to find support at $68, 68 really 20, but we'll just call it 68. If it cannot find support there, it's very likely we come and test at least down here to 65, possibly even all the way down here to 62. This move was really swift. You can see it's kind of like this A pattern, really fast. So it's hard to tell like where this is going to come out of here from. Those A patterns, I've been seeing them a lot more. I'm not sure if there's a lot of literature on that. That would be a little bit newer one for me, but anyway, failing this mid part of the channel, also breaking out of this long-term channel that goes all the way back to December of last year. So we are at a very critical point with oil. I wouldn't be surprised if we just get like a slight relief bounce, maybe up to about 70 and a half, and then consolidate there for a little bit. But yeah, right now we're neutral on the daily, bearish on the 4-hour, bullish on the hour, bearish on the 850. So overall we're slightly bearish on the oil. All right, let's go to gold. Gold looks like it's flagging out right here on the daily, and you can see this right here, bam, 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 right? So gold looks like it's flagging out. We talked about getting long gold via GDX a couple weeks ago when we saw this inverted head and shoulders that was setting up right here. And yes, it was kind of ugly, but I was also talking about, you know, sometimes the uglier patterns are the ones that are harder to recognize. Those are the ones that work and play out good. That seemed to be the case here. We were targeting about 2021 around this exponential moving average, pretty much are in that area. I took off some of that trade, but I have a longer term position that goes into next year that I'm kind of just riding out for now, and I've managed it in a certain way to where I don't have risk on the table now. So I'm gonna just kind of let that one ride. And that's with options. I do encourage you to learn how to trade options. A place called Tasty Trade is really badass for that. Go on there. They have thousands of hours of content, and it's all free. Pretty awesome. Let's see. Yeah, gold. I mean, if the measured move on this is going to put us right up to the longest term moving exponential, which is about 1260. That would be a pretty hefty move in gold. I would not be surprised that I'm pretty sure that's going to happen before the election when we get some kind of dumb scare of, you know, whatever the shit they want to make up, right, in the news. So gold looking fairly bullish here and flagging pretty much long. As long as it holds above like 12.18, I'm good to go. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap it up with my final thoughts on some BTC here. Again, kind of same shit, different day. Rejections again. If you noticed in the longer term picture of these 618 rejections, which are all of these pink lines, you know, they're kind of spread out further and further, but symmetrically they're pretty close distance wise. But now we're getting them closer and closer, but they're also pretty fairly close time wise. So again, just more sign of just incredible amounts of compression. This is probably one of the most compressed assets that I've been actively trading that maybe ever. I don't know. It's pretty wild. Maybe 2015 it actually kind of did this in equities when it was making that rounded top before August. It was being similar to this, but instead of, you know, you could almost even call this kind of saucery, right? Like something like that. That is totally there. But what I was talking about more in the equities, they were like doing this, but in the reverse, they were up and then they kind of did like that and then sold off hard. But yeah, in this time, this was, you know, like a good 3 months or something before they finally rolled over. That was back in 2015 in the summer. Anyway, I digress. Back to the crypto. You know, you could get long here with a really tight stop at 6,500 via the Bitfinex price, but given these weird spreads, you know, that'd be a pretty ballsy play. If you went in on off Bitstamp prices, you could kind of do the same, but it would be about 6,350. I don't think that's the worst trade, but do understand if you do take a trade on right here that you're very likely to get one of these big beast mode candles, and you probably won't be able to manage the trade at where you think that you'll be able to. I think I kind of want to just leave it there, because that's really the only thing you need to prepare yourself for, is one of these big ass just monster candles right in your face. And do know, even if you think you can stop out here, and if you put the stop in, when you get movement like this, it's not going to fill that. It's going to blow right past it. So sometimes, again, we've talked about it the last week or so, the best trade is no trade. But again, do know that the extra risk that you have and you carry right now, even though the rewards look pretty good, even if you want to be bearish or bullish right here because it's so tight, is that it will be followed by one of these explosive candles. So you might want to just trade a little smaller possibly, or extend your risk out a little bit more, right? All right, guys, this has been No Noise. I am your host, Z-Rex. It's been a pleasure. If you had any value out of this, please check out my other videos. I timestamp them. You can go in there, check out what you want, and I do pretty detailed timestamp as well. And we're trying to get these shows out daily. I think I'm going to try to pick a time of like 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, or Chicago time. Probably be the best reference for people. It's kind of my target right now, to make it like a regular, you know, scheduled program. Again, it's been a pleasure. Glad y'all listened. If you liked it, hit that sub bell, smash, and I will chat with you guys tomorrow. Happy trading. Good luck. Much love. Peace.